This podcast is sponsored by GTANA, the founders of Dubshed, one of Ireland's largest car shows. If you're a fan of performance cars, vintage cars, classic cars, there'll be cars indoor and outdoor, as well as trade stands at the event.
If you're like me and you're a massive fan of Tokyo Drift, you have the chance to have a ride in a real drift car with Drift Taxi.
So guys, what else can you expect to see at Dubshed 2024? Well, you can witness Extreme Bike Battle, which is basically a bunch of crazy people on motorbikes and BMXs doing some adrenaline-fueled jumps, trials, and all sorts. You can also get a haircut with our friend over at Jay's Barber Club, who's been on the podcast before. You can also grab some tasty food while you're there from a variety of different outlets. Under 16s go free when you're accompanied by an adult, and it's open from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday the 6th and Sunday the 7th of April at the Icon Centre in Lisburn.
Dubshed is one of the biggest car shows in Ireland, so whether you're into agri-yokes, Eurospec, German, JDM, head on down, check them out, and if you want to hear more, go to their website, dubshed.com.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Here's Craic podcast. I'm going to start off with, we're obviously in a cost of living crisis.
Are we?
And
I haven't noticed.
a recent clip I seen on RT News. There was a podcast and influencer, Keelan Moncrief, on RTE, talking about how despite making a substantial salary, she had to move home to live with her parents. So I was looking at the statistics for this, and basically,
What's she making?
you had to ask me that, didn't you?
Yeah, what is a substantial salary?
Is she down south though?
Yeah. So I've actually got
Probably
this here.
a lot higher than up here though.
The average salary in Ireland's €44,000. So basically, she was talking about buying a house and how she can't afford to buy one. The EU Statistics Agency Eurostat said that 68% of 18 to 34-year-olds in Ireland live with their parents, in sharp contrast to rates in other European countries. So the whole point of the clip was basically talking about how people can't afford to move out.
It's changed times. Back in the day, you know, parents and stuff, they would have been moving out at like 18, 19. But then again, I suppose you also have the alternative where a lot of your parents may still be living in the house that they grew up in. You know, it was passed on to them. I don't think a lot of people want to do that anymore. Like, everyone now really just wants their own home and have their own stamp and get out. Like.
Me and you had this discussion recently, Aaron, because your mum and stepdad bought a house in where they're at the moment, and then a house down the street went up for sale. And what was it, 4 times the price?
It wasn't 4 times the price. So,
It's 3.7.
Putting fucking words in his mouth.
They bought this house. Let me think. It would have been just before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was still living in England at this stage, so it was just before COVID. They bought this house, and I'll not say how much they bought it for, but a house beside them went up for sale there maybe like last year, was it? It was during this cost of living crisis and the real boom in housing costs and the interest rates and things like that, when it was basically impossible, really. And it went up for almost double, actually. Almost double the amount.
When did they buy theirs?
Just about 2017, 2018.
So not like a long
Oh,
time
yeah,
before.
yeah. Not like a long time ago. Now, Ballymena would have been very, very cheap back then. Ballymena probably would have been considered probably one of the cheapest areas in Northern Ireland to live. Now, it's still cheap. It's still cheaper. Still cheaper than Belfast, but I'm noticing that it is becoming quite expensive.
I've got some figures here in renting. So the following average market rates. In Dublin, the average rent is €2,300 a month.
Holy
The average.
13% up year on year. In Cork, the average is €17,000. Galway is 17,000, just under 18,000. Limerick City, 16,000 or 1,600. Sorry. So 2,300, 1,700, 1,700, 1,600. Watford's 1,400. The rest of the country's 1,300. They're all on average up about 15%.
So how much was the average rent in Dublin?
It was 2,300
euro.
Yeah.
The average rent in Belfast is 865 quid.
That's fucking mad.
It's
So
crazy.
three
People
times
think
the
rent's
price.
dear in
It's mad.
Belfast.
So
That's crazy.
basically,
Don't move out of Dublin, or don't move to it.
The average rent in London's £2,100.
I know they honestly
It's cheaper to live in
like-
London than Dublin.
So Lucinda's sister rents in
Mm.
London.
Yeah.
She shares a 2-bedroom flat in I forget where it is. It's like around maybe she moved, but I'm pretty sure it's around like Bethnal Green or something. But she pays, I think it's like $750 for her room, and then obviously like utilities and stuff are on top of that. Like.
Yeah.
Our mortgage is cheaper than that. It's
Same.
actually crazy.
Yeah. I almost went to London for university, and I had a couple of mates that did, and I just remember them telling me that
How?
we're in like a house of like 9, and I'm like, class, right? How much? That must be really fucking cheap.
Yeah.
It was £600 a month.
Oh my god.
Fucking hell. Probably like 3-bedroom house or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, we actually did have to
Three-bedroom.
share with a roommate.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah. So that's £600 for half of a room. So it was
Yeah.
actually it was what £1,200 per room, and this was
Yeah.
back when I went to uni. This isn't
Yeah.
Fucking
now.
hell.
Yeah.
You know,
Back in the day.
back in
Don't
the
know how anyone
day.
goes to uni.
I do think it's
London,
mad though,
mental.
like, because I know people. So I know someone in particular actually recently so they bought their house 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and their mortgage is now up for like renewal.
Mhm.
So they took out 2-year fixed term, and they're nearly double what they're paying. And I just think that's like you obviously, like, if you're living at home at the minute and you're like, will I, won't I, you're in a very privileged position. Obviously, if your parents are charging you rent or whatever, you're not getting like completely slapped in the face. But I think like for the likes of, you know, people who have committed to mortgages and stuff and are now coming back to like renewal times,
It is coming down a
it's
bit now
mad.
though.
It is.
It's down. Was it 4%? Nearly 4.5% now at the
I
moment.
would imagine it's about as down as far as it'll go down for a long time
Yeah,
now.
I think around 3 to 4% is generally what it's the norm. Like even like the years before that was an anomaly. Like the
it's-
1s and the 2%. Like
It's
that's not
never
normal.
going back
Like
to 1.2. I
No.
think 1.2 was the lowest. I don't think it's
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
not in a long, long time, is it going back to
yeah,
1.2.
but it has meant the house prices have went up.
Mm.
Not
Yeah.
West and Halifax have reported on their January report that house prices have went up by over, I think in the UK, 1%. So it's a positive rise. One of the highest rising places as well in the UK is Belfast. 10%
Whoa.
increase
In what? The price of the house?
in the year since January last year. Their January report from this year.
So it's 10% up a year on year.
Yeah.
See, I could believe that because last year we were in our house just over a year now. And I think I remember talking to you about this, Aaron. Like, we went to view a house, and at the time, I was actually speaking to the homeowner. The homeowner at the time showed me around. And I remember saying to him, I was like, look, we're really interested in this house. We're first time buyers. You know, we're pretty serious about this. We really like the house and stuff. I was like what is the figure that you will take for this?
Mhm.
Because the estate agents, who shall not be named because they were rat bags, had the house up for like 180,000, and I knew anybody that I talked to was like, that house not worth
You
180,000.
take 110, you take one.
And I was sort of like what can
You
we
go in and start
I was
running
like,
it down and
"Oh,
start
surely
kicking things and
take
being
it
like-
on, wiggling the banister and all, it's not even sound. But he was just like, oh, at the time I paid for this house, he was like, I think we paid, what's it he said? He said 155.
Fuck, how long ago?
And I was like, I don't even know, because it was a new build in just outside of Hawkle. So it was, they were quite like,
Yeah, I
they
know
were
what
quite
you're talking
fresh
about.
in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I know the estate you're talking
Yeah.
about, opposite.
Yeah.
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 New builds
um,
don't really go up in value that much.
Yeah, they're not, like, when you bought your house, they were probably only like a year old.
Yeah.
So nah.
Madla.
That's
No, like I think they've been up for a couple of years, to be fair, but like I think it's madness, like the price.
Yeah, even like just to go on to like the renting again, there's a severe shortage of rental properties with 1,096 properties available to rent on February 1st, down by over 20% from the same date last year. So not only has the prices gone up, like it's also harder to get somewhere because no one's fucking renting, like.
I have heard positive news this week though about it.
Right.
So every month since this whole fucking rental crisis began, like there's always been an increase of at least say 1% or so in rental. So last month, I can't remember the body that sort of brought out or released the information, but they've released that this month the rise was only 0.2%, so the lowest rise since the start of this whole boom in rental prices, so the likelihood is there may be a negative next month,
Yeah.
and it may be on the downturn and coming into next month.
But like, it's just mad. If the average salary is 44,000 a year, like, which is like €3,600 a month, and the average property price is like 366,000 to buy a house, like how are you meant to buy a house?
Yeah.
Like, it's just mad. Like, the whole point of that girl's video was basically like, I want a decent salary and I can't afford to like buy a house close to my family because of how dear it is.
I think another thing too is buying on your own is more or less fucking impossible for people. Like I know people who have, like, are saving up for houses and stuff, and they're doing it on their own. Like, I've obviously been lucky enough to do it with Aoife and stuff. So obviously you're going with two incomes there, but doing that alone is goddamn near impossible unless you're making fucking nearly 100k a year or something.
Isn't it mad though? Like, just to piggyback on what you were saying, that like not that long ago, in the grand scheme of things, one person working and then the other person in a relationship staying at home with like two kids. And if you were in a job like any of the jobs we were in, you were able to buy a decent house in the suburbs. You were able to support your family, have a decent life. Imagine trying to do. Imagine having a couple of wins. You're like, here, no, but don't be going to work.
I think what's scunnering for people at the minute, and what's annoying for people at the minute. Like, I know someone in particular, and they're in the position that you just described. They're on their own. They've just bought their first property. The issue with that is, like, he has a really good job and quite a decent income.
Yeah.
But because he's solo, he's saved for like a while, and I would say he put the same deposit down as me and Lucinda put on our house. But the issue is now that he's done that, and the mortgage payment every month, like, he's not able to, like, even, like, he's moved in and he has it, like, he's been in a couple of months and he probably has like a sofa and has a TV, but like, it really needs to be calculated about like
the expenses,
everything that they're doing, everything that he's doing.
I think that's one thing I definitely learned from moving in. Like, you have your mortgage, but there's a lot of other fucking things you have to do too. Like,
so. But yeah, I know, like, even renting at the time, remember before you moved to where you're at now, like, you arrived at a rental one day and the queue was like out the door,
honestly,
down the street.
Like, but it's like, you see them clips like from Dublin and stuff, but like, and even Australia, but that's what it was like. Like, we were actually talking about this the other night because we were like, I just sort of like look at property Paul the odd time and I was like showing Brona this place and all, and she was like, do you not remember like us looking at places and like having the queue up? Like,
that's
it was
crazy.
literally must have been about 10 couples. We went to view this place, and it's not even that. Like, she was saying, we had to like submit how much we were earning, like what our job was, like, obviously, what do you call it? Guarantors and all that shit. So like, they were basically judging you off like your earnings.
It's almost like a job interview.
Yeah,
like
it was that, and then that was just to go view it, and then you were showing up to viewings, and there was like 10 couples there in a queue going to see the same place, and you're like, this is fucking mental.
Yeah.
But like, even like, say your average salary is 44,000, you're making 3,600 a month, and you're living in Dublin, and your rent's £23,000 a month. Like, how the fuck are you meant to save for a mortgage? Or 2,300? Like, how are you meant to save for a mortgage when like there's over half your salary is going towards your rent, and then you're trying to live as well?
Yeah.
Like, it's just mental. Hey, like, you just, like Shea says, no one's going to be able to buy a house on their own unless they save for like, what, even 10 years, 5-6 years.
Like, even over here, like, what at our age, like, what's the average salary for someone 25 to 26?
The average salary, I think, in the UK is like 33k.
Hey, but for people, like, for younger people wanting to buy a house and move out, it's probably like 26 grand.
That's even 20 years.
Yeah, maybe 20.
Even?
Maybe. Well, like, I think the
like
average
25?
salary for anybody between around 25.
I'd say it is.
The average salary in the UK for people, we all fit in between 22 and 29, don't we?
Yeah.
The average salary for people our age is 30k.
30k. So what's that? £1,900 a month
If you're
after tax, pension,
just
all
under
that there.
£2,000.
So like, you think if you're paying a mortgage on your own at maybe £800-900?
I seen a flat in Belfast, like really nice, but like flat to be fair, like real modern, but it was like 2-bed and like in a nice apartment building. It was $1,500 a month, like for a 2-bed flat.
Go. That's renting.
Like, that's rent.
And
like,
then by the time you even take into consideration buying that, what that might be like, what, 180? People put like what,
probably
20 grand down.
Yeah, it's just wild. Like. Even for people to get a house to rent now, it's like so hard. Like.
As
getting the
a
mortgage.
property guy yourself,
Yeah.
What would you recommend for people at this present moment in time? Like in terms of like, would you recommend just
No pressure.
like, but like looking at it from a logical perspective, like for the like this obviously your area, like, but what would you recommend for people to like sit tight for another year and see how it goes, or
I
is
don't
it
know.
just a case of just fling yourself in and crack on if you have the funds for it?
I don't think prices are going to come down. I think things are slowly just going to creep up a wee bit. But the government did try and bring in the 1% mortgage there at the start of the new, what do you call that whenever they fucking bring out
New
the...
financial year.
What do you
Yeah.
mean 1% mortgage?
So at the minute,
Is
you know,
it the
way-
mini budget or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they tried to push the 1% mortgage for like first time buyers. So currently, isn't your mortgage 15%? Are you allowed? Or sorry, 10%? It's 10 or 15.
Yeah. On average, I think people put down about 10 to 20%.
The minimum
The
amount you
minimum
can
was
put down
5.
is
So
is it?
that was
But
fi- it
not
was five,
all-
yeah.
Not all banks will.
Not all banks will do that. So generally around 10%. But to try and get the likes of people who are on their own, you know, who aren't able to save up for deposit into the property market, they tried to do a 1% mortgage, but it didn't pass. So that's went to shit.
As in
I
1% deposit?
1% deposit.
Surely
yeah.
if you put a 1% deposit
So it's
down,
a
you're going to get
99% mortgage,
you're going to get absolutely...
I'd say the
like-
rates are going to would have been fucking ridiculous. On it.
Aye.
You can't afford a house, like if you can't, if you can only afford a 1%.
I'd say
deposit,
the
like,
only way maybe around it, buy something cheap and just sit on it and fuck like proper cheap, like 90k, fucking rent it out to someone, or fucking if you're not gonna live in it yourself, if it doesn't suit you, just get on the fucking ladder, like.
Yeah.
That's maybe my only advice, but I don't think it's gonna be much easier in a couple of years. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't really see things
the
getting much
price,
better.
like the price is like it's yeah, it's that's a 2-bed place I was on about, but there's like
Oh, that's expensive.
that's ridiculous. It's a nice apartment place, but
I'm currently looking at a house in Belfast. It's
You
just
know
a-
it's dear whenever they put CGI people in on it.
The residents.
but
Oh, exposed brick.
what was I gonna say?
That's
there?
at least another 200 grand.
Yeah, the issue with like inflation rates going up as mortgages going up, so those people who are renting a house on a mortgage have to charge more for rent, like.
yeah.
So like it's silly, like people go on about like landlords, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like what are you meant to do?
Realistically, if you're renting out a house and your
Yeah.
mortgage goes up, you're going to be like, oh, look, I don't want to put your rent
Yeah.
up because
It's just-
you're not going to leave. You need to make if this is your fucking money maker, like you're not going to fucking be like take a loss on it. Like
Yeah.
I don't think people understand that too. But
So you can't afford to buy a house, you can't afford to rent a house.
I don't
So
think
everyone's
so,
living
like.
with mummy and
Everyone's
daddy.
fucked. Like.
Sit
That's
tight.
basically the end of the story.
Sit tight, see what happens.
Hope it gets better, boys.
Hit me.
Let's play a game,
Right?
right?
I want
to
to
play
play
a
a game.
Right. We've all sort of been looking at houses recently, so we kind of know the market.
Do you?
A 3-bed standard semi. It's got a wee bit of an extension out the back for a like a dining room area. But it's a 3-bed semi. It's got 2 receptions. One of them's a dining area. The other one's in a living room.
Nice.
It's pretty standard in terms of square footage. I don't know, but it looks pretty standard. It's in a street off the Lisburn Road,
Oh,
What street though?
okay.
Marlborough
That's
Park.
important. Where?
Marlborough Park.
Which one's Marlborough Park?
It's up the
Is that
Lisburn
a good
Road.
one?
Shay wants.
No, lad.
Shay needs longitude.
No, I am
It's-
telling you.
it's
See,
not, it's
if
not a bad
you
area.
could go one
It's not a bad
street,
area.
the exact same house,
Oh,
2 streets over,
it's
and it could be the
near-
difference in 30 grand.
What do you
Yeah,
call that
fair.
primary school? Instance primary school.
Oh,
It's on the street across from Maud's
Mods? What the fuck's mods?
on the Lisburn Road.
For someone that's demanding.
Oh, it's
specificity.
proper.
Fuck me, man.
It's deep in the Lisburn Road.
Someone's
Like,
about to lose his mind.
325,000.
450.
Oh, 450 grand.
Let me see the finish
Have
of
you
it.
seen
Like,
For
that
a
house,
3-bed
like-
semi. Like.
is it well finished?
It's
Yeah.
pretty standard. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
That's
Tidy
not
trim bushes
standard.
out the front.
Have you had a look-
Oh, that's high.
in
that's
Belfast,
That's
like,
sort of standard in there, like, but it's a clean finish. So.
like in Belfast, that's big money that house.
Who
though.
painted that living room? They need.
That's the landlord special there.
Oh
Like,
dear.
it looks nice, but
So,
nearly
for-
half a mil.
For those who are
But a
listening, we are
garden
currently
as
looking
well.
at a house.
That's a decent
For
sized
half a
garden
mil.
for Belfast, too. Like, that's a good 10 square
Granite
foot. Like.
worktops.
Secretly, Shay's
Shay's
selling.
doing
Shay's selling the house. Shay's like, oh, it's not that bad. It's a steal.
How do you arrange a viewing?
Give me on that.
Wanna move
But
on
yeah,
here?
who's
Aaron, what have
Aaron?
you got for us?
Guys,
this week
This
on
week.
the news?
yeah, this week people are annoyed.
Tell me
Again?
something. At us?
What?
At
Yeah.
us?
No, not at us.
Oh, happy days. Well, that's the first.
Nike has unveiled a New England kit.
Oh, I've seen this.
Have you seen it? And what they've done is they've changed the St. George's Cross in the back of the thing from being just red and white to being, what is it? It's like red going down, but going across it's blue,
purple,
a
is it?
different type of blue, and like a purpley pinky sort of colour.
Right.
Um,
Pourquoi? Why did they do this?
They've said it's a playful update on the St. George's Cross
A playful update.
Right.
What is that?
It does.
to
It looks
unite
good.
and
Like.
inspire.
Unite.
It's something to do with
and
inclusivity, isn't it? But like they
Okay.
haven't directly stated what it's including.
So they actually have. It's a callback to the 1966 kit that they won the World Cup with.
So how's that being inclusive?
What's
People are saying it kind of looks like the bi flag, but I just checked and it doesn't. Hold on.
Yeah.
I mean, right. So there's the bi flag, right?
Yeah,
I can
it
kinda
sort of
get the
does.
similar-
Yeah, it does,
But like the
yeah.
colours are different. Like the colours are completely different. Like that's blue,
So,
blue,
What
pink.
what did they win in it? The Euro, the 19 what Euros?
I think it was 1966 World Cup.
Oh, World
Okay.
Cup.
And people are annoyed because they've changed it, or people are annoyed.
I think there's some people saying it's really disrespectful because they shouldn't have changed the flag. And
Yeah.
people are saying, "Oh, it's woke gone mad," because they're saying it's a bi thing, because it looks similar to the bi flag, or it's an LGBT thing,
Yeah.
because it looks similar to the bi flag. As far as I'm aware, it genuinely isn't
Yeah.
that, unless it's a kind of a both thing.
I think it's just trying to mix the colours in, like the blue and the reds together. Like it's almost like a gradient type of thing.
Right.
But I don't understand why. Like I don't mean to be insensitive, but I don't understand why it's been made out to be such a big deal. Because I was like listening to Talk Sport on the way to work, and it was literally like the world has ended. I can't believe they've done this.
I know. I keep saying things and people are like, "This is a disgrace" and all this, and it's like, oh, what? The
Yeah.
funniest thing is, do you want to hear a couple of tidbits about this? So Nigel Farage, obviously, oh yeah, Aaron, don't get too political about this. Had
Nigel
something to say
Farage.
about it, and he said it was a disgrace. So,
Right.
in response to Sir Keir Starmer, who is the leader of the Labour Party, saying that they should probably change it back to the normal England flag, Nigel Farage was like, finally, something good out of his mouth, blah, blah, blah. They should never have touched the flag. They should never have changed it because the flag's great. I'm going to just bring up on my laptop the party that Nigel Farage started. Do you see anything? Do you see anything?
Cash money.
Ah,
So
right
Nigel
now.
Farage himself used to have a purple Union Jack as his the logo for the very party he started. So the same people giving off are also the same people who have done this before. So they're just giving off about nothing.
the flag.
I think they're just giving off about nothing. I think it's an excuse. I'll give you some other examples. So in 2012, the official GB team's kit was a Union Jack, and it was blue and white. It was just a blue and white Union Jack. So it was. So that was doctored. No one seemed to have a big deal about that. The Conservative Party, their logo used to be a blue Union Jack on a tree. UKIP logo, as we discussed. The British Army, some factions of the British Army wear a green Union Jack on their arm. And the police union flag is a black Union Jack with a blue line through the middle of it.
They haven't.
on
They,
colour.
to my knowledge here, and like I think it's like whenever you mentioned about talking about this, I was like, let's not get political, or let's not get too deep in this rabbit hole. But like to me, from looking at it, they haven't doctored the actual shape or the identity of the. And people will probably be like, well, they have doctored the identity because they changed the colour. But at the same time, they haven't doctored like the actual, like when you look at it, you know what you're looking at. They've just
haven't.
changed the.
They haven't changed like the England badge. Like,
Yeah.
like they've
It's
changed.
not
it's
on
literally
the
a fucking
front of it, isn't it
small-
not?
The small St. George's Cross on the neck at the back of the
Yeah.
jersey.
Yeah.
Like it's not a big detail. It's
No.
just, and literally it's just like a couple of different colours blended into it.
Yeah.
Like
I
that's
sort of
set
got it
line.
from an aspect at the start when I first heard about it. I thought it was the badge on the front. I was like, fuck, that's a bit weird. They've changed that. Because, like, if you think of the likes of Brazil, like, everyone knows it's, like, green and yellow and blue. Like, that's iconic
Yeah.
colours. And, like, every other country has their badge, like, that's recognisable because of that. But the fact it's just a wee cross on the back of their, like, collar that people probably won't even notice, like.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
it's
Like,
just mad how big a news story this is. Like,
The
the
only
guy
thing
just
in the
thinking
front
mental.
that's kind of similar to it is the wee cuffs on the arm.
yeah,
Have the band that's the same colours.
But
going
they're
around it.
red and blue. Like,
Yeah.
they're really setting themselves up to win the Euros though.
I know,
If they've done this, I think this is the kit that's gonna bring us the Euros. The luck from the 90s, 19 whatever World Cup.
I just think there are people who, no matter what the colour was changed for, whether it was just a fresh look or it was to symbolise, you know, something like unity or whatever, like the world's changing and the world's evolving, people. And those will be stuck in the past will want to be stuck in the past, and there's no getting around that, and that's it.
That's just
Enough said.
we'll move on. Who's
Oh,
up?
Just another wee thing to add on to that,
believe
actually.
you would use this
Shea's
platform to
gone.
call out UKIP. Nigel Farage is going to be coming to this
Well,
office.
Nigel Farage has left UKIP now, so
Yeah.
we can chill out.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I know. I can understand the irony of me calling this a non-story after me bringing the story up, but
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
a non-story.
Yeah.
It's just a nothing.
Shea, what were you going to say?
on the Euros. So they've released today that any football fans that have been banned from the likes of a Premier League ground, you know, I've got like stadium bans and stuff in the UK, and hooligans you may call them, around the world have now been banned from the Euros, the 2024 Euros. So what they want people to do is to hand in their passports during that time to prevent them from doing any travelling during this. So what do you think of this? It's like, I was sort of thinking, so they're having to hand in their passports. They can't go anywhere. Like maybe they had a holiday booked for that week. Like maybe not related to the Euros. Going somewhere, they can't do that now. They're all on travel bans.
But
basically.
surely,
Wait,
like,
they can't stop you from travelling.
You're on
you don't
travel
have your
ban. You have to hand in your
passport,
passport. You can't
What?
travel anywhere.
Over 1,600 football hooligans and cokeheads will be banned from leaving Britain during the Euros in new crackdown. Now that's a headline from the Sun, so take that with a pinch of salt. But
the cokeheads
I've heard
still
of
need to
like
be thrown in there. Like,
They
fucking
are
hell.
savages.
there's a wee sprinkle of coke in that.
It seems a bit harsh, like
I suppose
but
it's
then I
because
don't
of what's
know,
happened
'cause
the previous
you're sort
Euros
of
and
like,
stuff.
if people have been banned for like starting fights and
Yeah.
racism and stuff like that, it's like,
they're a liability.
But surely
They can't be trusted.
Surely,
then-
like if you're going to like taking the family like for a Ventura or something, surely you can be like, listen, here's my details. Here's my
Guys.
flight details. I'm not coming
Yeah.
to the Euros.
I think taking the passport off them is a bit harsh. Like,
Yeah.
surrender your passport now.
but
You're
surely
going
the
over.
same way like they can ban them from the stadium, can they not just like implement that at the other stadiums, like send their details and be like, don't let this guy in if he comes up.
See, this
Like he
I-
shouldn't be able to buy a ticket. Like, do you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
I thought we were
suppose, yeah, I don't
living
know.
in a world where like someone, if they walked into an airport, they could be on a no-fly list and told to turn around. Like why do they need to take
Well,
the passport off them? Like?
Surely
Dunno.
there's a governing body like IFA or UEFA or something over all this. So like they should have like a central database hooked up to the ticket purchasing part of like
Yeah.
for like whatever. So your name and address is. But then I suppose you could just
Use your mates
like if I was
Yeah.
you know Ross at such and such an address and I really wanted to go to the Euros, I could just put Tommy in and bluff it.
But even like just say if you're going away, you just have to tell them where you're going and when you're
Yeah.
going. And like if you're going like to fucking Germany when there's a Euros match on or something, like you
Yeah.
obviously shouldn't do that. One.
Where's it in the Euros? It's in Germany, is it?
I don't know.
I
actually.
think-
But just
year
randomly
is it?
said
Is it-
Germany. Like I
is
don't
it
know.
24.
Twenty-
I
It's this
think it
year,
is Germany.
24, yeah.
I think it is being hosted in Germany.
Must be Germany because that's the first game.
The thing I was thinking,
How did I
can't
know
you
that,
just
like?
get the boat
Unreal.
over? You know, do you need a
But
passport to get off the boat?
Someone's
Do you?
Yeah, you can't just boat to
But if
like
you're
America with no passport.
No, but it's
Just
within the
boat.
EU. If you're traveling, say you go down to Ireland, you get the boat from Ireland.
UK or
No,
not in
but
the
even though
EU
there's
anymore,
travel
boy.
within the EU, when
You
you
get the boat over. If you really want to go into this, go from England, get the boat to Northern Ireland,
but-
walk down from Northern Ireland into Ireland, take a boat from Ireland
no, but
to France, and fucking drive over to
flights
Germany.
and boats aren't part of the free travel thing. Like when UK
You don't need a
was
passport to get on a boat, do you?
if you're going to a foreign country, yes.
This is an
But-
upper class man here. Hey?
but you're
Doesn't
not.
go on boats. Hey?
No, but you are no right. So do you remember not that long ago when we were still in the EU, when you went to
But
any
this is
other
what I'm
country?
saying to you. If you're from England, get the boat to Northern Ireland. It's free travel.
Yeah,
Go from Northern Ireland down to Ireland, which is in the EU. Go from Ireland to France or wherever. just free travel, you know, within the Irish,
even though you're
in
within,
Europe.
yeah, you're still within the European Union, but you're changing country, technically traveling. And I will say this with a pinch of salt: if you're traveling from the UK to Northern Ireland,
Yes.
same country. Am I right? No.
Yeah.
That's what
So,
I'm trying
yeah.
to say. Like, yeah.
So I love how I looked at you.
The only-
Am I right?
The
I am
only
right.
illegal, well, not even illegal, like border crossing there from Northern Ireland to Ireland, which is free travel. Like, there's no
Just
border.
imagining someone in like the football or organization writing all this down and be like, "Well, your man from here."
We're
is
just gonna
driving."
have a massive influx of
Hey,
hooligans.
Travel
in
around the whole of
Belfast
Europe. I can might
Airport
watch this game.
in July.
Right.
Orange got a sauce.
Here we go.
Man has got the laptop out.
What I was going to tell you earlier is, do you remember when we were still in the EU, as in the UK, and when you ever went to Spain, you still had to bring a passport. Exactly the same thing for Irish people going over to the mainland. So you can obviously walk across the border without a passport, but you can't just get on a boat or a plane. It says here with Irish ferries, which is like their version of Stena Line, that you must either have a European Union ID or a passport.
What about the Challenge Tunnel?
What?
Do you need a passport for the Challenge Tunnel?
I would imagine so.
Jesus Christ. We're just going through every...
We need to give these people a way to get
thing
there.
of
They need to
transport,
see the
hey.
football.
Jesus
So basically,
Christ.
I'm actually interested.
What if you fly by a helicopter? Do you need a passport for that?
We were watching that
If you
Haunted
need
the
a
other
valid
night,
passport to use
and I was
Eurostar.
thinking, how far can you get without being tracked by anyone? Like, I was thinking, you know, all the modes of transports. Like, can you get in the Eurotunnel? Is that
boys,
You
listen
wouldn't
up.
be going anywhere in a fucking boat anyway.
If you've
like
got-
a passport.
If you've been banned from football games because of hooliganism, listen here and listen quick. Come to Larne. She'll meet you in a kayak. 30 quid for the kayak. No insurance.
Boys, there's a money
He'll take
maker
you
there.
over.
Like, there's a money maker.
You'll be fucking driving your car across the channel, hey, and just like
Swim
open
the
up your
channel.
thing on top of the car and bikes will just come out of it. Like, what do you call it?
Dinghy sales are going to go through the roof.
Just say, "Well, boys, quick, for the tide." Fair play.
Should we wrap it up there?
That was an interesting
I'd
conversation.
We could call it.
I say we could call it there. It's been an
Right.
entertaining one.
Short and sweet. Thanks for listening. Want a dad? If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. And if you're listening, go subscribe on Spotify and give us a rating or Apple Podcasts, because we could do with the help. Thanks, please. Okay. I think we'll end it there. Thanks. Okay. Bye.
We could do with the help, please.
Please help.